I invite my colleague, Dr. Nagendra Swamy, a veteran in the healthcare space and one of the founders of CAHO, to take on the next session, please. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. The next session is a panel discussion, which is going to be the game changer in Indian healthcare scenario. The panel is going to be on the perspectives of holistic approach to the digital integration of healthcare. Now it is very, very opt that other players to bring the integration to have a holistic approach to the digitalization is needed. So we have three eminent speakers who are made a big mark in their own area to speak today on this subject of holistic approach to the digital integration of the healthcare. I don't think introducing Dr. Girdhar is like taking coal to old castle. The Girdhar has become synonymous with the quality, digital, and also important is the healthcare changing dynamics of our country. Present Director General of HPI, veteran of CAHO, he has been very, very instrumental in starting NABH and the quality journey in India. Now he plays a major role in a lot of accreditation programs nationally and internationally, and he is recipient numerous awards and recognitions. He has been described as a quality man of India because that is where he put his stamp to the Indian managerial thing. Sir, it's my privilege and pleasure to give this small introduction because all of them knows about you. Now over to you to give us provider's view, especially one in I wanted. What do you think? You are also heading the AHPI issue, so you know a lot of providers. They have their own intrinsic challenges in our Indian scenario. I will request you to throw the provider's view in this integration. What could be the key factor which can make it tick very comfortably? Over to you, sir.
Thank you very much, Dr. Swamy. I really will like to present the provider's point of view. Because the topic of your session is the holistic approach, to bring the digitization. So, the two programs of the government, that is Ayushman Bharat and National Digital Health Mission, which now is Ayushman Bharat Digital Health Mission, we all know that they will be the game changers. Now, when actually will be able to change the game? Will it be 3 years down the line or will it be 5 years? Naturally, it will depend on a lot of other inputs and the intention, resources, and all of us have to work together along with the government. But definitely, these two initiatives which have been taken by the government, maybe, sometimes I call it half-baked, decision has been taken for Ayushman Bharat, but still decision has been taken. So I'm sure in time to come, things will fall in place. And so you see what I was trying to say that before we think of digitization, the holistic approach has to be that you need the very minimal basic physical infrastructure. Without that, we will not be able to have any kind of digitization in the country. So when Dr. Nagendra Swamy was asking me to speak on behalf of the providers, so I naturally, along with Dr. Alex, we have been in touch with our 20 chapters. I go across, talk to the nursing homes and hospitals about the National Digital Health Mission. To be very frank, I don't know, very minuscule people tell me that they know about it. Many people, they say we have not just heard about it, but we do not know anything about it. The question here is that maybe 2 weeks back, our health secretary, make a presentation that we have around 13 lakh This is based on the Ministry of Commerce data. 13 lakhs beds in the private sector and about 9 lakh beds are in the public sector. Now, this all put together, it will come to around 1.75 beds per 1,000 population. So this is a very authenticated data from the Ministry of Commerce, 1.75 beds per 1,000. And what you need is 3.5 beds per 1,000 if you go by the WHO recommendation of the developing countries. Same thing, he also mentioned that there are 13.3 registered doctors in the country now. Our point to him was, almost 7.5 lakhs, you can say, are serving doctors at this point of time. And out of which, again, if you leave out the MBBS doctors, we will be left to around hardly 6 lakhs doctors who are actually in position to be called as a serving doctors because of they are the MD or MS or beyond. So now that means, again, we are back to 0.65 doctors per 1,000 population against the 1 doctor per 1,000 population. Then the other aspect which I keep talking to the government is that the number of beds, for example, in Delhi is closer to 2.8 per 1,000. Hyderabad, 2.7 per 1,000 population. Like that, and if you go across to Bihar as a whole, the number of beds per population will be around 0.4 somewhere per 1,000 population. So much, diversification is there in the country. It will be very difficult to think of, digitizing or bringing the National Digital Health Mission in our country. So the first and foremost is that we have to make sure that we have the minimum infrastructure available in the country. We had a discussion with ministry, not now, about 3-4 months back with the Additional Secretary Finance. And he mentioned to us new hospitals, which is not going, around 35,000 nursing homes with the 30 bed capacity. Can we think of upgrading them through technology? And the point which he mentioned himself was that there are cultural blocks, that these small nursing homes really do not want to talk about the upgrading the technology because they are in the comfort zone of running with the minimum manpower without getting into the income tax or labor law or so and so and so and so. So today I would like to say here that opening up of the new hospital is difficult because nobody wants to invest money in tier 3 towns for the sheer reason that we, as I mentioned to you, we have only 6.5 lakh doctors who are the specialists. So that means we cannot think of bringing doctors to the tier 3 or lower down the line. So the only way now here available to us is that we try to help these smaller nursing homes to upgrade through the technology, number one. Number two, some of the major hospitals, some of means good number of major hospitals. Let us say Sam Mehta is in this group sitting here. Suppose he is given opportunity or some incentives, I will mention those incentives, to set up the hospitals of 100 bed, let us say 50 kilometers away from his own hospital. Now he has the all specialists at the main hospital. Then through them and then using technology, telemedicine, he will be able to operate a smaller hospital of 60, 70 or 80, 100 bed in tier 3 town. But fresh somebody setting up of the hospital in absence of the specialist is just not thinkable. And that is why I want to remind all of you here that when Prime Minister had said in 2018 that he will like to see 3,000 new hospitals in tier 3 towns because of the Ayushman Bharat. And to my best of the knowledge, not a single hospital has been opened up in those tier 3 towns. So I think let us talk about the ground reality. Maybe we have got 500 hospitals in the country which are of the global standard, state of art. But that is not going to serve, they are not going to help in bringing universal health coverage unless we touch this ground reality. So the ground reality is we give incentives to the major hospital to establish the satellite hospital, which we have mentioned to the government. Number one, cheaper electricity. Number two, single window clearances. There's 37 clearances take a year, sometimes 2 years to get it from the government. Third was soft loan from the International Financial Corporation, which should be available at around 7 or 7.5%. And last one was, of course, just to facilitate acquiring the land in the tier 3 town. With these 3 or 4 recommendations, which are lying with the government, if they are accepted, at least to begin with, major hospital will be able to set up the satellite hospital. And second stage, as I mentioned to you, is that the smaller nursing home of 30 bed around, which is around 35,000 in the country, if we draw a scheme that how we help them through the technology in upgrading themselves, or let us say, for example, opening up of the common radiology center in one area, which can be used, let us say, by 4, 5, 6, 7, a smaller nursing home in that area. That is possible. For example, Philips and Siemens at some point were ready to do that and establish their own center. So this kind of approach will be able to help us basic infrastructure, then only utilization in the country. Otherwise, I think struggling. We'll be talking only on the paper, and that can happen only in, let us say, 500 hospitals in tier 1 towns. That is not going to solve our problem. So this is from my side at this point of time.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. We have heard 3 eminent experts who have given different aspects. As usual, our Pitamaha, Dr. Girdhar Gyani, was right on the dot on the ground level reality of the small segment hospitals. That is something that all of us need to address. How do we get this hub and spoke model, whether we support the other thing, because the shortages will continue, no doubt, but that should not be the stumbling block. How do we do it? And thank you. Thank you.